slide onto the skid so you can have the correct center of gravity. So if I'll hand this around so you can actually see. I'm not, okay, I am a bit, but you're not. It does have some weight to it. So if you are flying solo, have ballast on the front passenger skid, dual ballast on the rear mount tube, so that's more for the pilot. And then there's a hang test that must be performed. There we go. And what they do is they take the weight of the empty aircraft and then they put the pilot in there, figure out where the CG is, and then they put the pilot passenger in or a temporary ballast of those weights in their seats and do more testing. So there's a lot of testing going on to figure out the actual CG. That's just some more diagrams of hanging it. And then to weigh it, you put it on 4 scales, so there is no really good jacking point. It's so light, you just lift it up on one side, put it on scales, lift it up on the other side. So 4 scales, and there's something else I wanted. Oh, yes. So it's very important. They specify you have to have it at exact points on the skids. So you use a piece of angle iron, which we do have and we use. Place the skids on that so you have the exact arm reference for your weighing point. And here they have the arms and the datum, and then it tells you the distance from the datum for each of those points. And they give you sample weight and balance problems. This is an interesting page. It gives you the CG envelope. Here's our weight and then center of gravity, and you plot and make sure your CG is falling with an envelope for both longitudinal and a lateral envelope. There's a whole test you do when it's hanging up with a person in it to test the travel of your cyclic control. So this is a template that would be used for that. And that's more of a like envelope and another CG unused graph. Questions on that? I just wanted to kind of give you an overview of how it can be different. Okay.
Even as an experimental, if you can afford to buy one, if you just follow the chart, follow the manual, it can be safe.
Yeah, very much so. Yep, and it's built by someone you trust.
A lot of times, though, the guys that have the money to buy them, they end up getting in trouble because they really don't know how to fly them either.
Exactly. Yeah. Unfortunately, they're like, oh, I don't have to follow these sets of rules, and nobody's keeping track of me, so hey, I might as well just do my own thing. And
what's interesting for a lot of those, though, they have the option of actually building. You can build them at the factory with the help of the factory personnel.
Yes.
And people actually work the manufacturing.
Yes.
And I think that'd be kind of cool.
Oh yeah. Well, like the stuff you see at EAA, that's great stuff.
Oh yeah.
And I mean, Boeing, different other large companies have their issues, so it's like sometimes a well-built experimental may be better than a manufactured. Yeah.
Stuff,
Yeah. All right. Any other thoughts on experimental? Okay, question time. And you see me sitting down, not having a screen up there, so that does mean we are doing this in oral style. So that also means I'll ask you the question, answer it as briefly, succinctly as possible. If you start giving me information, I'm going to follow that rabbit trail and chase the bunny. So, and I do want you to get the experience of how that could be. And if you have any questions as I'm asking you these questions, please stop me and we'll talk about it. Because I want you to have a good understanding, not just memorize the answers. So the first one up is random. By the way, don't do that with a DME. Okay. If an aircraft is loaded so that the aft CG limit is exceeded, what undesirable flight characteristic is likely to result? Yes, and if you are in a nose-up situation, what further things could occur in flight? What hazardous, dangerous things? Very good. That was excellent. So you could have said stall right off, and you would have been safe. But I liked how you gave me a little bit. You let me ask more until I got what I wanted. So very well. Next one is Clayton. If I think I have way more confidence in you guys than you do in yourself. Alright, if all the records of an aircraft are missing, how would you determine empty weight and empty weight CG? Perfect. Next one, Amanda. Define tare weight and describe how it is handled when weighing an aircraft. Excellent. And what do you do with that? I'll give you a scenario. So I put an aircraft on the scales, and I chalk it so I'm safe, it doesn't roll. And then I get the weight of all that, the chalks, the aircraft, everything. Do I add that all up together in my weight and balance record?
Not like in that scenario you have to count it out. But usually don't you compare the chalks before?
And what does that mean?
That means put the chalks on the scale and
Perfect. Perfect. Excellent. Excellent. Next one, Keith. If a piece of equipment such as a radio is added to an aircraft, how can you determine the effect on weight and balance without re-weighing the aircraft? Yeah. If a piece of equipment such as a radio is added to an aircraft, how can you determine the effect on weight and balance without re-weighing the aircraft?
You find the measurement in relation to the datum, and then times the arm by weight to get your moment, and then you take your moment divided by your weight to get your CG.
Excellent. You want to know what the answer they have? It can be determined by computation. But you are, and depending on the DME, they may ask you further and ask you exactly what you said. So, yeah. That was excellent. And you didn't go astray, like I didn't have bunny stitches. Very good. Shane, why is control of the weight and balance of an aircraft important?
It's important to ensure airworthiness, safety.
Boom! Stop.
No
What else? What else would you like to tell me?
I was just gonna say like proper proper flight characteristics.
Good, and it is for that. The primary reason is safety, but then, yeah, good flight characteristics is a secondary. tipping, good efficiency. Yep. Tiki. What is the datum of an aircraft and what is its function?
The datum is an imaginary line drawn at a specific distance or at a specific location to the aircraft. And its purpose is, that's the point where all the measurements will be made for where the location is, and that's helps find the moment for weight and balance purposes.
Very good. Very good. Dude, how do you determine? All right, back there. I actually pulled your name.
I'm sorry, Rachel goes, he goes, dum dum dum.
Oh no! Oh no! I should give him another question.
That's funny.
Oh, this one's for you. How do you determine the moment of an item of equipment?
The product of arm and weight.
Perfect. Perfect. Matthew. What are two ways of determining the arm of an item of equipment?
Measuring from the data.
Perfect. And
And it's already in weight concept, we just use on that.
and what is one other document you could look at that would
If it's part of the original aircraft, it's the,
perfect. Excellent. Caleb, what are two ways? Never mind, that's one I just asked. What should be done to obtain a positive or plus moment after the datum? These are some tricky little questions.
Repeat the question.
Yes. What should be done to obtain a positive moment after of the datum? Think mathematically, not necessarily. Yeah.
Should be done with positive moment. Well, everything after the datum is a positive R.
Very good.
So, have a positive weight and a positive R to give you a positive moment.
And what could you do to that weight if you want to increase moment after of the datum?
Either increase weight or increase R.
Perfect. Perfect. Excellent. So, on that thought, what would you do to get a negative moment after the datum?
You have a negative weight off the aircraft.
Perfect. And if you want a positive moment forward of the datum.
You would also have to be removing weight.
Perfect. And if you want a negative moment forward of the datum.
You're having a positive weight.
Bam! Nailed it. Well done. I didn't even have to draw my little. Love it. Did anybody have questions on that? Just tell me how to kind of stop and, okay, mathematically think through. Okay. Next one. Write it. How does the category of an aircraft affect its loaded weight? So, weight and balance category more so. So we got, normal utility, and what does utility mean you can do? Limited aerobatic, so then what's the third category? Fully aerobatic. So what are the differences with,
Affecting the maximum.
yes,
I would assume that normal category would have a higher maximum weight perhaps than utility.
correct, and utility higher than aerobatic, because the more G loads you have, then the more loading you're putting on the structure. Very good. Thomas, as you prepare an aircraft for weighing, you determine that there is equipment aboard that is not permanently installed and recorded on the equipment list.
Like cabbage.
What should you do with this equipment?
You should remove it before you start weighing your craps.
Very good. Very good. Like the cabbage.
Or eat it, although that's gonna affect your weight if you fly it. It's still there.
Oh, Grant. Define the terms residual fuel and residual oil.
That's any fuel or oil that's left in the plane after you drain all that you can out of it.
Very good. Very good. David. How should you account for fuel when weighing an aircraft to determine weight and balance?
You should drain all of it.
Excellent. Or, what's another option? Not as good, but.
Find out how much is in there and then just subtract the weight.
And what is the best if it's not empty? What should you do? Just put 5 gallons.
Fill it.
Perfect. Yeah, fill it up to the where you know full it is, because then it'll be 53, whatever, maybe, or something else. But yes, 200 ml. Jedediah. Thank you. Everybody else is looking at me like, ugh. No. Where are leveling instructions found? And describe one method of leveling an aircraft.
Maintenance manual.
And there are points under the wings where you can put a jacket. Or there are removable bonuses on
More so like how rather than jacking it, like rather than the process of leveling, how do you determine that it is level?
you use a level.
Perfect.
Spirit level.
Very good. And other than the maintenance manual, what is a little more official of a document that would have?
TCDS.
Perfect. Very good. Ooh.
Good question. That question you asked me specifically, so like maintenance manual will have how to level it.
Correct.
TCDS would give more like the actual locations for the data.
Correct. And that's why, because I figured out, like, I think you're going more like the method of leveling, and I was looking for how do you determine that it is level. So then I asked you the questions, and you, yeah, gave the right answers. And that's how they could do to clarify. Yeah.
How to.
Mike, define the term mean aerodynamic chord or Mach. Give me a, just throw it out there. Something. You can phone a friend. Anyone? Yes.
It's the mean of the
That's true. true. I'm looking more for a what is it rather than how to find it. That's exactly how you find it. Oh, I think you were first.
It's a theoretical chord of a wing as the Hershey bar wing has the same foot characteristics as the back.
So yeah, imaginary airfoil that has these same aerodynamic characteristics.
Yeah, that's good.
But which type of aircraft is it used for? Not Hershey bar wing, because those you can get the
Well,
average.
yeah, I'm saying your theoretical is of a Hershey bar wing. That would be.
Okay.
for,
So I would say it's for,
say,
yep,
for
swept,
swept wings.
tapered,
Yeah.
to make a rectangle.
Yes.
Yeah, okay, I get where. Yeah, but then I asked you, you clarified. I'm good. All right. Corbin. What is, I'll get to you in a second. What is the, wait. Skipping, okay. Describe the two most common ways of showing the CG location and or the CG range.
It's worded pretty weird.
It is.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll read it again, how they have it. Describe the two most common ways of showing the CG location or the CG range. Don't overthink it. So if you go to a weight and balance record
Yeah.
and you see CG range, what units are they using?
Like inch.
Yep.
Yeah.
And inches from where?
The data.
Perfect. So CG in inches from the datum is one way to show it. What is
That's
the
one.
other way?
Oh, okay.
And it kind of bounces off the question I just was.
It's like I don't know. Is it?
Send it.
Mm,
I saw some people go,
it's like
oh.
the numbers.
You put it right.
Centimeters.
Not in the U.S. I know. Phone a friend.
Phone friend.
All right. Yeah. So in percent of mass. You knew that. It was just very.
Sure. Yeah.
Joe, did you still have your question?
Yes, ma'am. So, Mac, I've been, up to this point, been thinking about it as a top-down perspective. So
Okay.
like, surface area of the wing, right?
Mhm.
Do they also include factors such as like washout and such?
To that formula that I had shown up there, they include like all the things.
Okay, so every
All the-
aspect of the wing.
Yeah, like massive. That website that I looked up, it was like my scroll thingy was teeny tiny, and I scroll, and it's formula after formula after formula. So yeah,
Yeah.
everything you can imagine, and probably can't imagine.
So if you had a perfectly square rectangle wing
Mhm.
with just a little bit of washout,
Mhm.
your Mac is gonna be different.
Yes. Yep. You change.
What's washout? Washout is where the angle of the wing changes. So it's, deeper and shallower. That affects where the wing stalls. So the whole wing doesn't stall, it's part of the wing throughout.
Keith.
For, if say we're having trouble explaining like I just did.
Yeah.
Can I ask them for a piece of paper and
Yes.
draw it out?
Very much.
Okay.
Yep. So, just for everyone's benefit, Geese asked, like with that question, can you ask for a piece of paper and start drawing it out? Absolutely. Yeah. So if your mind ever kind of spasms like mine does, you're like, man, I think I can draw this concept, but I can't find the words to explain it, ask for a piece of paper.
Can you bring your own piece of paper?
I don't think they don't allow anything into the oral because you're not allowed any resources. But for your practical, for sure, bring your textbook, bring AC 4313, bring paper, because they now have oral questions integrated into practical, but any oral question asked during the practical, you may use your resources. So, yeah, pray you get these on your practical stuff. But you guys are gonna know it. Obviously, absolutely. Oh yeah. Okay. Isaiah, what is the purpose of an aircraft loading graph? Like, do you remember when I had those different graphs of like CG envelope and
Figure out where the VOK is loaded aircraft
yes,
and very proper points of characters.
very good. And what does it help save on? Like, why would you use a loading graph versus 25 plus 362 plus 350 plus?
Oh yeah, it's just it makes the math simpler.
Perfect.
Makes the formula
Yep.
simpler.
Yep. Now you still have to add your totals, but yeah, you don't have to be doing weight times army equipment because that does it for you. Marcy, what is? Oh, this is so perfect. What is ballast behind you? And why would you use it on an airplane or helicopter?
So a ballast is a determined weight that you set inside of an aircraft to move or adjust your CG range to a desired place.
Whoa. You almost got word for word what they have here. That was beautiful. Very, very good. Yes.
Are these from prepware or are these from the oral exam guide?
The oral exam guide.
Okay.
And these are from the Jeppesen oral exam. Did you get the Jeppesen oral?
Yeah, we got them. I
Good.
just haven't seen them in prepware. I wanted to
Right.
make sure I'm not missing something.
And that's a good note. So prepware is great for your written because they pull questions. Prepware people do try to get questions that are reflective of the written. The Jeppesen oral guide is really, really good for oral questions. Now, they are covering the same material, so it's same subject matter. If you know one, you'll know the other. But it is good to get familiar with the format and verbiage that they ask you. Yeah.
So with how you're kind of guiding SG,
Yes.
do they do the same thing? Because like with Chris's question about the aircraft category, I was like
Yeah, that
trying
one.
to figure out what that was, but then when you started talking about it, I'm like, oh yeah, I've seen that on TCBS and I
Right.
remember talking about that.
It depends on the DME. It kind of depends how you're doing. Like if you're bombing every question, he's like, okay, this is. But if you're like nailing it, and he thinks like, okay, this is a little miscommunication, I can ask some more questions to give guidance. Yeah, it does depend, but that is possible.
Can't you also ask for clarification?
Yes.
Like, hey, I don't understand this question.
Very
Could
much
you
so.
reword it?
Right.
That way it's not a chance for everybody to decide.
Yes. Yes.
I talked to some of the flight guys who were did the AFP program last year,
Yeah.
and they said that the oral guide was very helpful, but some of the examiners would ask the questions backwards. So they would give you the answer as a question and
Okay.
expect you to,
That's pretty good, and that's good to know.
yeah. So
And
they
that-
said that kind of called off.
Yeah, so that solidifies know the material. I know it forward or back. Yeah. So like that last one, some are easier to do. Oh, like okay. What could you use to bring CG of aircraft into allowable range? Add about. Yeah. So. Oh boy. All right. Zachary. installation of several new radios in the nose of an aircraft causes the forward CG limit to be exceeded. How can you correct the problem without removing the new equipment?
By putting ballast in aft of the seat.
Perfect. Perfect. So they kind of did that there. They gave you a scenario, but I'm asking it backwards. Jordan, how does the CG range of a helicopter compare to that of a fixed wing airplane?
Smaller and more predictable.
Perfect. Excellent. Any questions on those questions? All right, we have time to go through some prep work questions. I don't think we're going to go through all of them, but to give you a little brain refresher for tomorrow. parking brake, it can put a side load, so you're not, even though your tire might be in the center, now the weight's kind of shifted off to the side, so you're not centered in the scale, and the scale won't give you an accurate reading. Like, did you ever weigh yourself? Now bathroom scales are different because they're spring instead of like load cells, but like if you stand in the corner of a bathroom scale, it can't read your weight correctly because you're not centered in its center. You're like, hey, I can eat more burgers today.
I feel like you still get like your same weight even if you have your parking brake on or off, you just let the scale wouldn't not read it, right?
Correct, the scale wouldn't, because if you're not pushing the scale down evenly from the center, it could, if your weight shifted off to the side, which is why we were telling you, put the tire in the center of the scale, get the skid in the center of the scale. If you look at the scales, if you have somebody stand on them, and you can see they have a little gap as they compress, and if you're not centered, you'll see that they are a little bit like that. If you're, and that won't test it. So have somebody stand on it, make sure it compresses evenly, then have that same person wearing the same clothes stand on the side and see if you get a different weight. There's a fun thing this afternoon. Yeah.
How is the parking brake doing that? Just because it,
The tire can't shift and move, so normally it kind of settle right in the middle. Otherwise, if you put your parking brake on, you can't go right with it. Okay, we have, I'll do this one for everybody.
I'm good. These questions get me when they pop up in our tests, and I didn't see them in the prep work. It's like, you're like, whoa, slow down, okay, what is this question saying?
What gets me is I'll read something like that and I can read it in about 10 times and it's like,
What does it
I
say?
don't understand a single word.
I know. A lot of
And see, if my tests fall on one of those days, it's like, oh, I would do so bad. And the more stressed I get, the less I can read.
I know.
And then because I can't read, I get more stressed. Be as simple as the cat jumped over the fence, it's like, I don't understand what it's trying to say.
Honestly, that's not bad. We've lost quite a few actually in that fire.
Oh, how sad. You get more specific training now.
This is the nation
Smaller
that
class
Oh, yeah.
size.
So initial state purpose. And then right where it adds.
my brother said that he wanted to
Oh, you know what's funny? Lawnmower is a lot motorcycles are the distance sound like helicopters. Lawnmowers close range sound like helicopters.
Like a line.
I never thought about that.
This one.
Did anybody go out to either of these doors?
Yes.
can only move.
Almost did?
I think 3 of us went out.
So it's gonna take.
Okay. Did it work? Did the doors open?
Yes.
Yeah.
Here's the thing.
It was wide open, but. Hey Christina, could you sign this for me?
Okay.
Like the operational boards.
I just realized,
Why do I do everything physical? Because I make mistakes.
did anybody go out through these?
That's what really got me at the logbook entries. I mean, technically I was supposed to be clean, but I make mistakes and I read them.
Okay.
I hope to do
We can work on
I think it was like 14.
I'm feeling now that we know that we're going like a second and a half prepared to we're gonna go at least twice as fast. We can do better, because honestly, all this fire drill,
Thank you.
all right. My place is set up, I can go now. We know we're in time. We're gonna be like, meal out there.
I mean, everybody's walking. Like, it's true.
So, we'll see. I'm just
I
like,
think, like,
when we get that time down,
The first
2.5
two tables
minutes,
out
I'm
on the
doing like
floor
sub
and
50
the back
seconds.
table, I don't know
I
what
think
was
that's,
faster.
we can do that.
Probably the back tables went out.
Well, the best way is probably going to be these stores because we can see there's no fire right here.
Yeah, for
The
sure.
rest of the building, you know, it could be collapsed.
I'd be concerned
So there is a little,
if I walk out that door and the front office is completely collapsed.
because we wanna make sure this
I
plays
mean,
out.
possible.
Yeah.
Possible.
If there really is
Then
one,
you go
Right.
here, and then
Right.
you need to go
Likely.
same, but that's a good point.
Okay,
But
the point is you could be walking in the fire that
Fair.
way.
I
instead of
get,
that way.
I understand that point of view.
Well, if he does it, then
Try that.
so right here,
Oh,
I've
I
got
was gonna do
a quarter inch tank, a couple catapults, Legionnaire, a wall city, plenty of Bro lives in Everett?
one more thing. No idea.
Oh, yeah.
Thanks for having the paper
Oh, yeah.
and calling it Raise Nate. And then I jumped in with all the staff names.
Yeah.
Because we need to make sure all the staff are there.
Very much.
Yeah. And then Case and Terry are not here today. so-
Right, and
And Nick knew that.
people knew that.
Yeah. So, anyway, thanks for having the list,
Oh, yeah.
because I couldn't have done it.
No way, no.
I mean, you instructors might have been able to do it. I needed just from memory, thinking about it.
That'd be a little.
It's better to have that paper. So that was good.
The students probably.
Yeah.
We did wait till a second. And we went over how to wait, but air free
see that picture, like, oh, that's small. You go out there and look at it, and
That'd be crazy.
like,
Crazy.
I scratched some paint off the Stinger once. The longer you hold that flare, and you drop out of it, you hold it. The flare is just to build up the rotor RPM. Because that's the inertia you need to for a soft landing. This is really cool to think about that helicopter too.
Huh.
Flare a tree down, and then you just, as you're coming back down, you pull up on the collective, and you use all your inertia to set power or no power.
Huh.
Are we on lap time?
Everybody back at 35.
So, yeah, there,
You got 2 minutes to this.
A couple more things.
oh, no, him? Yeah, no, he's going.
I just wonder, I was like, we lost some of the fire.
Oh no!
There goes to
Lyle tried.
taking the attendance.
What's interesting about the auto rotation too is when you go to pull the collective up, you want just enough collective to cushion the landing and use up your inertia on the rotor system. But if you pull too much, you balloon, you use all your inertia, you're 15 feet off the ground, and we'd have nothing left.
Oh.
Don't do fire.
Have you ever noticed that in all the FAA tests, the answer is going to be one of the two that are similar?
Yes.
Is it, well, no, it's not that one. You get into, okay, yeah, those two are just about the same. Read back and forth, same thing. Yeah, that's different. I just hope for the SATs and ACTs, it's always the answer that's not, like in everything else. I go, oh, that's definitely not what it is for the other
Yeah.
tests I've taken with FAA.
All right, everybody gather in. Ooh. We have some toasted marshmallows in the car. Oh, crap, man. Okay, David's here. All right.
I think Ryan.
Oh. Sure. Let's pick up where we left off. This is questions for anyone. So, true or false? Private aircraft are required by regulation to be weighed periodically. Anybody say that is true? Ooh. Anybody say that is false? Very good. Number 2. Private aircraft are required to be weighed after making any alteration. How many say that is true? Ooh. How many say that is false? It is false. Any alteration. So, if I remove a radio, put a new cool radio in, and I have what pieces of information?
Weight and arm.
Weight and arm. I can If it doesn't tell you, then you do have to reweigh it. But most changes nowadays, they will give you that information. Yeah.
So those, weights for 1 pound, 5 pounds,
Yeah.
that's at any arm?
Correct. Yep. So, just mentioning, anybody remember, what is that type of weight called if, for example, airplane is under 5,000 pounds, less than 1 pound, what kind of weight is that? Negligible weight. So then, you don't have to even calculate, you don't have to calculate it. Is it a good idea to calculate it if you have the information? Definitely, yeah. So that stuff adds up over time. Alright, how many of you would like me to go ahead and continue through the next 6 pages of prepper questions?
Yes.
So, we do need to get the helicopter weighed today. So, I will leave you to your own devices in reviewing the rest of the prepware questions. Reminder, prepware, the final is prepware. No calculations. And here is what I deviously did. So I was planning to just do the Jefferson oral, and then Anna signaled me that we were going to do our drill at 12:20. So I was like, ooh, this prepware question. Ha ha ha. Keep them going. And so we did. So we got a little extra. Let's try. But you did great. Oh, okay. You want to go straight to the lab or a quick little OR story? Okay. Ask me about the OR story later. Operating room story.
Yeah, we want the story. Right now. Oh, yeah.
Okay. Sorry, Thomas. Alright. So, our fire drills in the operating room are super fun. So we do it early in the morning before we had any patients in. But we do like a mock. So we have a mannequin on the table, and we set up our whole operating stuff, and we all get in there. And then one time, I got to run out and pull the actual little fire thing, so it was very fun. But I forget how many years, we would do it in conjunction with our local fire department. So they would actually come because they wanted to know their response time. And so we would do it, but then we had to get the patient out of the room and over to like the next section of the hospital. So we would, and sometimes they would simulate that stuff was on fire, like we couldn't even grab the stretcher. So we would just drag them on a blanket down the hallway. And it was pretty fun. You'd like pack them with stuff and then wrap them up.
Where'd the needle go?
So you could, if you ever have surgery, pray that you don't have a fire.
How many packing freezers?
But then the firemen would come tromping in with all their equipment. Anyway. Well, is it better to get dragged along or to burn up? That's basically what you come down to.
Burn up. As the patient. I'm already out. I don't want to lose those things.
So, the reality, like we would move people in sections. So like if the fire would have been at the opposite end of even our unit, then people would move to our end, and as the fire progressed, then we would move to the next unit. So, anyway, so lab time. Shane got finished with his group yesterday. So Grant, your group is up. So with Grant will be Jonathan, Ava, James, Jordan, Matthew, David. Anna is going to be with you guys on the helicopter today, so that I can be available to anyone who has questions on the lab. So I will be fully present for lab tutorage, questions, confusion, clearing up of confusion. And yeah, rest of the day is lab. After Grant is finished, then Geese, pretty sure you'll be able to get it done today. If not, everything after the final. And final is like 41 questions, I think. All right, lab time.